We are here.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry. Let me check on YouTube to see if we are alive because the other link broke. As you know, sometimes it happens. And sometimes it's because we are so late starting that they say, off with you, you're wasting my time. So let me see if the link is working. Yes. Yes, if we are live. So again, hello, everybody. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you're watching this. Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're wearing your mask and you're being decent and not trying to kill anybody. Just hoping. So with us today, we have two amazing, incredible, genius artists, but above all, even better, even more incredible human beings, which is Emanuela Lupaccino. Hello, Emma. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. What about you?
You know, trying to survive.
Stay safe, guys. Stay all
internet,
safe. Wear masks.
Yes, trying to survive the internet who hates us, as usual. You know, technology. And Elena Casagrande, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm good, thank you.
How's
Still
things?
alive.
Okay. How's things in your parts of Italy? Things are going better? Things are as crazy as it were like 2 months ago? How's things for you?
I go
Well,
first.
Elena and I live not really far away from each other, right? So I think we are on the same boat.
Yeah.
We open a little and then we close a little. So it's up and down.
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
No, guys, just so you know, we weren't 15 minutes. We weren't discussing this for 15 minutes or the connection. No, we weren't late because of that. No.
Already done.
No, we weren't talking about that. So you are not going to suffer us talking about that again. Good for you. We just did it out of the connection. So first and most important, my name is Victor Frankenstein, just so you know. I'm your doctor now. And this rotring pen is my syringe. So I just popped it into you both. You're safe. Pandemic is over. So my question is, what's the first thing that you've been dying to do for months? That you say, the moment I'm free, this is the first thing I'm going to do.
Yeah, I have this one.
Go.
I'm getting prepared from months to do this.
It's like doing the list of 100 times. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I want to go to the eye stylist, getting my hair done, and yeah, it's awful, guys.
No, it's not awful.
Yeah, no, it's awful, really.
Okay.
Trust me. And then I want to go out with as many friends as possible, kind of 20, 25 friends, eating a pizza or something, like ice cream, anything, but all together. I miss the company of many friends all together. We are seeing each other, 2 people for time. So this is what I'm gonna do as we can live a normal life again.
Be honest, what you want is to go to a big pizza place where there's 200 people. And
yeah. And I want to kiss everyone in the room.
Exactly. Eat a pizza and not be thinking, I'm gonna die. Elena?
I think the first thing that I'm going to do is to book a travel with train or to go out from this city with my camper and go to visit all the friends I have in all the part of Italy. Yeah, I miss so much to travel. It's almost a year that I didn't do luggage. I was so usual to do luggages, and now it's a year that I stuck it here in my city, so small and so boring.
Well, and you have people doesn't know this, and probably my wife Paloma is gonna kill me for saying it, but you had a pending trip to Barcelona that you couldn't do because of this. But it'll happen. It'll happen for both of you. You know, as soon as this is over, we'll send you emails and phone calls saying, "Hey, when are you coming?" So
Yeah.
you have
I'm
my
ready.
you have
I'm
my
ready
prom-
to
you
go
have my
everywhere.
promise. You have my
I
promise.
I have a friend in Barcelona, so it's just the second excuse to come in.
We have a lot of Italian artists living in Barcelona, by the way. So you have company here. Probably you know a lot of them. I don't know if you know Claudio Stasi or the
Yeah.
others who live here. But see, as you know, as I told you, it's just not only coming to the convention; it's seeing your friends here. So, okay,
Yeah, done.
Note.
Scheduled.
The moment this is over, you both are invited to come to Spain.
Yeah, I go with Elena with the camper.
So, do you remember the last time you went to a theater to watch a movie before this started?
Yeah.
The last movie
I
I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I missed the we are in Italy. We had a few months where theaters were open when Tenet came out.
Yes, same thing. We have to. I think we're carbon copies. Your country and mine.
I'm thinking about that. I don't remember.
October, we opened the theaters, and I went to watch Tenet. Yes,
but I didn't go. No.
No, but I mean before. Before March.
Before March.
Yeah, before the pandemic started.
I used to say so many times now.
I went to Disney on Ice show on the theater.
You went to watch Disney on Ice?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of figure skating. I'm a figure skater, so I went to, that was the last thing I ever...
The funny thing, I missed it. I bought tickets for my daughter,
and
my wife and myself,
lovely.
And I had to go to a convention in southern Spain. That was the week before Spain closed. So I missed it. I missed it. My wife and my daughter went. And then the next week was the lockdown.
Yeah.
So you watched it probably the same week I would.
Yeah, it was right after Christmas or so. So yeah, it was the last thing I went to watch in a theater because then I traveled. I went to Dubai. I remember I was in Dubai when the pandemic was happening. And we were totally cool there, nothing happening. I was by the sea, drinking a super colorful something. And and a friend called me terrified. We are closing here. People is dying. There's a virus. And I was surprised because Dubai was totally quiet and safe. Nobody was wearing masks except for the real careful people. But it was something weird to see people wearing a mask. And when I remember I arrived in Rome, it was March 8th, and on March 9 we went on lockdown, and I was shocked because I didn't realize how serious was the situation in Italy, because we were the first country being hit so hard. We were the first one.
Yep, and Spain was the second because of the flights coming from Italy. So
our fault.
It was not at all. It could have happened the other way around.
Yeah.
Every time I say this, people are like, "Oh, no, wait, I'm not blaming you. It's just if there's open frontiers, things happen between one."
Yeah, I know. Nobody.
It was a coincidence that it happened in that order, and probably from us they got it in France, etc.
Yeah.
Manuela, do you remember when things gonna happen only in Milan, and we in Rome say, "Well,
it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen hard." Yeah.
In Spain,
So exaggerate. I mean, what?
in
Yeah.
Spain, that was here. In Barcelona, in my area, in Catalonia, it was, the first is the most connected part. So it was the first one, and then the rest of Spain was, oh, that's only happening in Catalonia.
Yeah.
Until 2 weeks later, when we were looking there and saying,
Yeah, I was so skeptic about the pandemic. You know, we heard about viruses in the past years, like MERS, SARS, the H1N1. So I didn't care at the beginning. It was something really exaggerate, and I was joking at people at the airport wearing a mask. But then it happened in around a week or so.
Yeah. Here was like they said about lockdown. I think they said on the 8th, and the lockdown was on the 10th, like in 2 days. Literally, Spain made the decision, a state of alarm, lockdown in 2 days.
Yeah.
So it was just like, and everybody, I think we were all the same way, like, it cannot be.
Yeah.
That's why I have problems, blaming governments. I understand there's better and worse governments, but by the end of the day, nobody knew. We are all learning at the same time.
Yeah.
Even the governments, nobody was prepared. How could you be?
Yeah.
If we were making jokes, I don't imagine the government saying, oh, that's a joke. But I can imagine them being like, what? What? The numbers are being like what from the next day to the other? If they reacted that way, it was probably because somebody from one day to the next saw a search of, I don't know, 200,000 people being infected, and somebody say, close it or we're all gonna die. Like in the movie.
I remember I thought that was so bad to close conventions and theaters and cinemas. I was convicted that was wrong. It was a different point of view.
Yeah, exaggerate. I mean, we don't need this. It's under control. It's just a virus. Thousands of virus in our life.
Yeah, it's like the flu. What are we doing?
Yeah. But I was the first one. Was convinced that it was nothing. So I was shocked when I went back home from Dubai. It was chaos here, police and checkpoint everywhere. We got our temperature measured. A test for the COVID. It was chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get to the airport, I remember that I was, as I said, in southern Spain for a convention the week before the lockdown, and I remember getting to the Barcelona airport, and of course, it still wasn't closed because that was like 5 days later. But I saw everybody was absolutely. You could see the reactions. Everybody was like, something big is happening. And they were expecting, one day or the next, the government is going to react, which is what happened. But nobody expected. I remember saying, oh, pandemic. Well, relax, guys. Pandemics means it's extended all over the world. That doesn't mean it's that bad.
This is not something happening in our century,
Yeah, absolutely. Sí, Paula Ventimiglia saying, ciao, Miquel Hanning, hi, Ema and Elena.
Ciao, Miguel.
Carmar, hola, Elena, Emanuela, David. Hello, everybody. How are you? Just, send questions or comments or praise to them.
Feel free to ask us about everything. We are just here dying every day, trying to talk with someone.
The good thing is that we are Italians and Spanish. So we can talk about...
ci capiscono lo stesso, anche se parliamo in italiano, anzi, forse ci capiscono meglio.
Yo os voy a entender. I'm going to understand you. If you speak Italian, os voy a entender. I'm going to understand you. For me, that's not a problem. For other people, I cannot say. But in my case, but I was gonna say, we can talk about food.
Yeah, definitely.
We can talk about drinks.
I mean,
other people in the world.
I don't know if it's a good idea or it's a pain to talk about food and drink now that we can go out.
There's a difference between us, Italians and Spaniards, and the rest of that shitty parts of the world. We know how to cook.
Yeah.
We can do it ourselves. We don't have to call, hey, dude, prepare that amazing meal. No. We can do it. We're better than them. Nobody's listening, right?
Yeah. Guys, I have to tell you, I cooked a lot. During the lockdown, I cooked every kind of dish on the planet Earth. Yeah, I tried every kind of recipe. So if you have one for me, please go ahead. I ended my list of things to cook.
You
Yeah,
could,
send
I
you list.
started to drink during the quarantine.
Yeah.
Really, the first time in my life that I found myself to drink wine every day during lunch and dinner. My husband doesn't drink at all, so I was me and a bottle of wine.
I gotta tell you that we had to buy by the second month of the quarantine a bottle of Galician white wine because to have it ready, because my wife always said, I don't drink, but while I'm cooking, I need my glass of wine. So
Yeah.
she always had
That's a good idea.
a perfect glass of wine while she was cooking.
It's inspiring.
Exactly. She was inspired. And I was telling her, but you're drinking. And she was like, no, I'm not drinking. I'm cooking. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to even argue. Give me another glass. and no, you can't. Why? Because you're not cooking. So
it's just for who is gonna cook.
Yes. So I have to cook to drink. So that was her choice. Okay, what am I doing?
I don't drink in general, but I think if this is going, if this lasts too much, I think I'll start at some point of my life.
Well, at least we're drinking wine. When we move to whiskey or things like that, we'll start worrying. But if it's just a glass of wine, I think we're in control. And it's always
fine.
Remember, it's always related to food.
Yes.
If it's not related to food,
so you can accept also the after lunch drink we call amaretto.
Amaretto, yeah.
Is acceptable, right?
Absolutely.
It's international.
I don't know where I have my guess. I'm not a judge, but I have a Thor hammer. So this is like in court.
Okay.
Amaro accepted. We have Galician fire water. We have Amaro. I could even accept limoncello.
Okay.
Is that acceptable for after lunch drink?
Absolutely. Yes.
So let's do limoncello too.
Also for breakfast, Who cares now?
Limoncello
on the pancakes. It's perfect.
Limoncello for breakfast.
Okay. Pedro is asking me.
He's asking questions. No, stop.
Yeah. How do you remember your run X Factor with? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was. Definitely. Working with Peter David was mainly fun because the script were amazing to read. So I was so thrilled to start drawing the story, and X Factor was my first and my favorite run ever. It was my first love, it's unforgettable.
Mm-hmm. So Paula Ventimiglia saying limoncello for breakfast. I have to try that.
Yeah, for sure. The pancakes, it's perfect.
Oh well,
start the day.
One time, I don't know where, I saw a video where that for the when you have drink a lot even before the evening before, to stay better the morning after, you have to drink the same thing of the evening before. So if you drunk limoncello on evening, you can drink limoncello in the morning. Okay? It's science.
So you die and don't even suffer anymore.
That's not a good idea. He's like, oh, I got so drunk with whiskey. Next morning, give me a bottle of whiskey.
Who cares? We don't have to drive. So
No, I forgot to drive. I don't know what about you guys, but my car, I think my car thinks she died. She didn't make it.
No, I try to drive. I try to drive once a week at least.
Yeah.
Just to in my wife's case, because we live out of Barcelona, so she goes and the kid goes to school in Barcelona too, so they go in the car every day. So in her case,
Okay.
that's fine. But in my cases, I have to drive once a week because same thing. You know, for in the first lockdown, I couldn't, and after a couple months, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to remember how to drive, or if the car is going to start. So I try to do it once a week.
I know the feeling.
What is the most fun for you when you're drawing? Is looking for the structural part, and I mean, what is the thing that calls you the most? Is finding new ways of drawing things, or storytelling, or looking for the emotional parts?
For me, it's both. It mainly depends by the story I'm drawing. There are some stories that are challenging for the style, the techniques I use, and some stories are more emotional, so I get focused on the expressions and the acting and the giving the right atmosphere to the right moment. So yeah, it depends by the story. For example, in my last run of Gotham City Sirens, it was a very emotional story with a very special mood, all new mood. We never seen anything like this in Gotham City, so I got focused on the emotion, the expressions.
Mhm. I was laughing because we have Yannick Paquet being a child.
Oh, Yannick!
I don't have a permit.
Hi.
I don't have a permit. Not really an adult yet. No, you're not. We all know you're not an adult. Elena, please.
for me, the storytelling part, I mean the part when you draw for the first time after reading the script, all the panels, is the hardest. It's like doing a jigsaw, I mean a puzzle.
Mhm.
And the funniest part came when you see all the pieces in the right place.
Mhm.
But yeah, it depends on the story. I think when you have when you feel free to do everything you want, is really really fun.
Mhm.
When you have to follow some dictas, maybe a little less fun, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It depends by the writer. I think the same. There are some
I
writers
didn't
that
say
are
this.
very short in the description of the panels, and some are very precise on what's going on and the how it's going on. So sometimes we are more free to express ourselves, and sometimes we are just connected to the script.
But it's really important what you just said, because that's also when you notice if the writer is writing for you or they are writing for whoever artist takes the pages, right? Because if they write for you, they're going to play to your strengths.
Yeah, I think Peter David at some point when we were working for 1 year or 1 year and a half, he understood what was my spotlight on the art, and he was writing the right things for me. But it really happened. I mean, not for me. Maybe Elena. as a connection with the writer?
I think the first issues of every series is like a pilot,
Yeah.
and the artists have to connect with the writer, and maybe by the second issue, the writer starts to write to help the best part of the artist process. I think it's a process that can happen for every team into the comics.
Yeah, because by the end of the day, it makes it better. I always say that when a writer writes for his or her artist, it's creating the real creator of the comic, which is the third entity that comes from the mix between the words and the art. And that's the best thing of working in comics, right? To see that synergy between you as the artist and the writer.
I mean, it happened with me and Kelly on the BlackWidow series. We didn't met before that.
Yeah, we can see that. We can see that.
And when I read for the first time the double splash page on issue 1, I just wanted to do something new and really fun for me. But then Kelly, I think she just had so much fun with the double splash page that she had at least one per issue, and gave me the totally freedom to do them as I want. This is the funniest part of my currently job on BlackWidow.
And for you, let me relate comics storytelling to music. For you, comics storytelling, is it a symphony or opera? You can pick rock and roll or jazz.
I think symphony opera. Yes, it's like every person in the team have to create an harmony with the other people of the team. I played in an orchestra for 5 years, and I see the same kind of completion between the work team into a story of comics that the various symphony in an orchestra. And when things gonna write, the sound is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same for me. A good storytelling, it's like a good symphony. It has moments of relax and moments intense and moments more dynamic. But yeah, it's a symphony.
And say, Yannick is asking, of course, as a musician too.
I don't know which is the English name of flauto traverso. Flute. The one, not this flute, but this one.
Let's say side flute, Yannick.
Side flute, right.
I don't know if it's side flute. I just made it up. Yannick, please research. You have a comment in Italian, by the way. If you want to translate it to English, brave ragazze. Well, that is there. I don't want to destroy Italian.
Oh, good girls. Yeah.
When I lived in Milan,
he talked about limoncello.
Yeah.
Okay. Spanish, you can understand it. I'm not going to translate it. The American ones, if you need help, let us know. Why comics? I mean, with all the possibilities you have as artists, to work in animation or to work in illustration, I think, why did you decide comics is my heart, this is what I want to do? Elena, first, please.
I think that I didn't choose to do comics purposely when I was younger. I started to
We've been forced to do comics.
and just to draw panels of my day when I was like 8 years old, and I didn't know that was a comics. And then I improved just in the drawing because I like to copy draws that I saw. Then I started to read manga. Then I known Sailor Moon. So I just drawing and drawing and drawing. And I attended to an high school that was totally far from the artist. For the artist subjects. And after the high school, I had no idea what to do of my life. So to accomplish my father's wishes, I started the university and the school of comics just for curiosity. You mean I just don't want to left any in the road. You mean? You know?
Yes.
But after 6 months, I left the university because I understand that comics were what I really care, and from that point, things came naturally because I know the American industries of comics, because before that I knew only about manga. and I started to work during the last year of comics, of school comics, and things came naturally. I really didn't choose to do this job. This job came to me.
So comics chose you.
Yeah.
Emma?
Well, I'm always been fascinated by the anime and animation in general. I remember that my favorite activity when I was younger was copying all the frames from Disney movies or cartoons, and I was there all day watching cartoons and drawing. So comics landed in my life just because it was the best way to make a job, drawing, because comic books, it's the only way to start and earning to survive. So I started with comics because it was the fastest way to enter this entertainment world. But I think in my future, my idea is to go working for animation, and I established some connections with some opportunities. But then COVID happened and everything stopped. So, but I'm not surrender. So I definitely want to follow this path as the pandemic is over. I'm studying character designing. It's something that really fascinating me. So yes, this is what I see for my future. I'm not leaving comic books because I love comics. It's my way to express myself. But at the same time, I love animation.
So, but you are not going to leave us, right? You're going to do both things.
No, I'm going to do both things.
What is Elena? You have worked on create your own comics, and also like Suicide Run, and also of course you are doing corporate Disney, Marvel owned characters, and you Emma have worked in both too. So my question is, how different it is to work in something you own as compared to something you don't. Do you work
Ah,
differently, or is the same? You just try to do your best.
no, it's not. It's not the same, definitely.
No, it's different.
But I can tell you that working on something you love, it definitely makes the difference. Um, there's not so much difference between working on something it's not yours if that thing you makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much different when I draw for myself or when I draw for Marvel or DC Comics, because they are characters I love, and it's something that really fascinated me and makes me happy. But when it happened in the past that I got some work for something that I didn't like to work on, it was struggling, it was pain, because it's like forcing yourself, your creativity in something that doesn't appeal to you. And it's awful. I mean, the work is never ending. It's working on a page lasts forever. So when I work on Wonder Woman, I draw a page and I don't even realize that I'm done. So yeah, that's the difference.
I
Elena?
think it's a matter of quantity of freedom you have to express yourself. When you do own creators comics, you have totally free to create, to how to tell the story and how to move or talk about the characters you created. And especially if you have a good relation with the writer, is like a symphony, the best symphony you can have, like we said before. But when you work on characters that just exist, you have to accept the confrontation with the previous artists. You have to play between the respect to the icon of those characters and your creativity and the directive of the editors that she have to respect. So it's like you have to take a good aim with your gun, and it's more stressful. Yes.
That was going to be my next question then, is how much of yourself you can live in those icons? How do you do it? Black
Sorry,
Widow. or what?
I lost the audio for a moment. Can you repeat?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Good.
definitely.
I was saying that that takes me to the next question, which is, when you're working in one of those icons, there's a fine line between it has to look that way and okay, but this is my style, this is how I do things. So how is it treading that line, and how can you input your own personality in characters like Wonder Woman, as Emma mentioned, or in Black Widow, as in your case? How do you do that? Emma, please.
Well, it's kind of luck, you know. There are some characters that they comes natural to you to draw, and some other it's impossible to click with them, to connect with them. So it's a bit harder to make a good a good imagine of the character. So the most of the time, I think this is the editor that makes you go into the right way. For example, when I was working on Bloodshot, it was challenging for me because it was not really my highlight. It was a kind of story I was not confident with. So I trust the editor a lot. He was giving me direction to follow, suggestions to make that character perfect. Because it was a character I didn't grow up with and I didn't know it very well. So it was kind of, I was building the character while I was working on it. While I'm working on Wonder Woman was really natural. It was a character I knew from since I was a young girl. I watched the TV show, the Super Friends. So, you know, it's something that was part of my know-how. So I was, it came very easy to me to express myself on Wonder Woman. It was like something I really knew. I really knew how to having her acting, moving, the expressions, you know, even the move, the mood of the character was something very well known by me, so it was easier. But when this not come easy to an artist, yes, definitely trust the editor.
Elena?
When I work on a characters on a character from Marvel or DC, the first thing that I do is to do her hair like I want to, and then is the editors that gives me the limit I have to respect or I can keep. So it's like an attempt that I do every time, and I'm happy when my limits are very few. About Black Widow, well, actually, she was a character that I didn't know so much. I have to admit, but I try to find the reference in the previous artists that I most like, and I try to get inspiration from that. Plus some inspiration from other kind of stories, but always spy stories, and not only from comics, but also from series or movies. You know, I like to do mix of media, and I could. Editor is happy, so I'm happy too.
Is there any of the Avengers, and I don't mean the Marvel Avengers, on your Black Widow? I mean like Emma Peel?
Actually not. No. Maybe just in the interaction with the other characters,
Yes,
but not in the.
Maybe I would say you can play a good Juggernaut.
A good?
Juggernaut.
Sorry.
The character Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Juggernaut. Yeah, maybe I see you. Not an Avenger, but you know.
Never say never.
Yannick is saying goodbye. Happy New Year, ladies. I'm gonna need to run and catch the rest later on YouTube. Cheers. Bye, Yannick. This is for you, Emma. Felipe Gonzalez says, no, for Elena. I have followed your work since your beginnings, including I wrote an article and I interviewed Elena. It's amazing to see the evolution of your art.
Thank you so much.
Kate Robinson tells you, Emma, hi guys. Emma, do you have any favorite storyboard artists yourself? And are there any shows you believe are underrated as far as the work that goes into them?
Well, I don't really have any favorite storytelling artists because storyboard artists. Sorry, because I follow several of them. The main artist I follow for the storytelling is Jose Garcia Lopez.
God,
which is,
God.
you know, it's classic. So starting from there, I follow a lot of French artists, French books, because I think they have very good storytelling. And yes, Alan Davis for Heroes comics. Alan Davis is one of my favorite.
Mhm. So José Luis García López and Alan Davis, that's not bad.
Yeah, you know,
That's not bad. That's not bad. Let's say it. Let's not
I
bad.
think you can know them.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard their names
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think so. A couple times. Yeah. And Elena, what about you? What is your references in terms of artists?
I have no one in particular because I have so many authors that I liked. But most of all, like I said before, I used to read manga. So my
Let's repeat it again. Sailor Moon.
no, Sailor Moon is when everything is started. But my I just say in Japan my I don't remember the Japan word. I mean, my favorite artist Japan is Tsukasa Ojo, the author of Cat's Eyes, City Hunter, and I started to study storytelling from him, and then I appreciated the other authors always from Japan, like Tsutomu Nihei. And the author of the Blade the Immortal, and I never remember his name.
This Saint Google is gonna save us.
Yeah.
I can do that while we talk. So Blade of the Immortal. Keep talking.
And when I started to read
Hiroaki Samura.
How?
Hiroaki Samura.
Exactly. And thanks, Google. And when I started to read American comics, I fell in love with Eduardo Risso and Marcel Frusin and a lot of different authors from Vertigo. So and then I started to mix so kind of different storytelling into my comics.
Can I add something curiosity?
Yeah.
When I started the same school Elena went to learn how to draw comic books, Elena was a few years ahead of me, and she was already working for IDW when I started the class. So to learn storytelling, I looked at Elena a lot. So yeah, do you remember Ghost Whisperer?
Oh my God!
Yeah, I know
wish not.
by memory because I copied it 1,000 times. So thank you, because you were my first artist I looked at to learn how to make a good storytelling.
Do you remember the time in Lucca when you were going the portfolio review?
Yeah, I was terrified.
And we met outside.
Yeah. I was your best fan at the time of school. Yeah, I have all the Ghost Whisperer. Fabio Mantovani gave me all the digital files, so I have both.
And Ghost Whisperer was my first comics as professional. Yeah.
And how much do you hate those pages now?
How much?
Do you hate those pages now?
Oh my God.
No, impossible.
Like, oh my God.
There's a sequence with a mommy on a car, and it's still in my memory. The first time I seen that scene, I thought Elena was genius, and I looked at the panel for days.
You look it for me because I don't want to see those pages anymore.
No. I mean, they are different. it was 12, 15 years ago now, if I'm not wrong, but they are still excellent, I think.
Thank you.
Would you agree with that, Elena?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, she says so. No, but that's a valid question, I guess, which is looking back to those pages. Do you think, oh my God, I wish I could do those pages now with everything I know that I didn't know then?
No, you know what? Sometimes when I watch on my old stuff, I think that I remember those pages worse than they what really are, and sometimes I think in some point, in some part, I was better than now. Because I didn't know how to draw, so I was so precise on something that now I can run because I know how to handle a panel. So sometimes some things were better than now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the contrary, because I look at my past pages and I saw only bad things. But I appreciate my evolution, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think the old page, it's all the effort we did to get here today, and we improved a lot, but our old stuff, it is still good.
That's good. That's good. No, but I didn't mean it was bad. I mean, it is something that you could redraw if you could have the chance. Any project that you love still that you did years ago that you think, I wish I could draw it now. I could redo it because I loved it so much.
Oh, you mean the kind of work, the series?
Yeah, past project. One past project was
one past project that you loved. So
okay.
Back in the day, that you're saying, if I could redraw it now because I loved it so much, and I think I could draw
for
it
me it's the Supergirl run.
For me, it's Suicide Risk.
Why in both cases?
Supergirl was the first superhero, the very important superhero I've been able to draw with DC Comics, and it was so perfect for me to draw. It was so fun to draw. It was a blessing moment of my career, and I loved Supergirl. She was so spontaneous. And I think it's one of my favorite characters in DC Comics. So definitely I would have drew it forever.
Okay. Elena?
For me, because I was totally fell in love with the characters, also with the main character. And there was a particular chemistry between me and Mike. I feel really, really good working on the series, despite was for minor editors like Boom was a time. And I had a good memory of that job because it had been the first long-term job. It was 2 years long, and I was totally free to show how the characters were and like they move. And Mike wrote them so good and so. I don't know. I read the scripts every time, and I just after one reading have all the story behind in front of me. It was maybe because it was easy. This is the detail that because I loved in particular that job.
But that's also a big quality of a writer, and Mike has that in his face, which is making your life easier, right? You know, being so clear with what he writes. Sometimes I see scripts for the artists I work with, and I literally go like, this is not a novel. You know, you're not writing for an artist. You are just writing, and you don't care. You know, if you're making the artist's life miserable. You know, and oh wait, that panel has 15 actions. You know, you've been through it. You know what I mean. But when a writer like Mike is so good at writing comics, he makes your life easy. That's part of their job,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yes. And the first time in my career where I asked to my editor to don't spoil me the story because I want to wait the script month after month.
Yes, that's the thing I do. I never read the whole script altogether. I don't want to get spoiled with because you know it's boring then. So I read 4 or 5 page per time.
Even on the same script.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a way to not get spoiled.
I don't want to get spoiled. I mean, it's
So
boring.
you don't want to read the ending before.
Yeah.
That's good. That's nice to see. That's nice to see. And how do you think? And I don't ask as females because I ask as artists. How do you think comics need to?
Thank you for what you said. Thank you.
Why?
Because it's rare, you know.
As I always say, if I don't ask a man certain things, why the fuck would I ask you? You're artist. That's
You know, because
that's the thing.
that's the right way to speak. Thank you.
I think that's the only way. But anyway, you know, I leave it for the assholes to ask in other ways. I mean, as artists, and I wanted to clarify, not as women, as artists, because that could be misinterpreted my question. As artists, how do you think the comics industry needs to change, needs to evolve to survive in the future? Yes, I have to ask a difficult question, I know.
Oh my God. I know exactly what has to change,
Go
but
for it. Go for
it's
it.
Go first.
I can give you more help if you need.
So the problem is that comic books needs to be free.
Mhm.
And over the past years happened something that broke this freedom.
Mhm.
So we had more rules, we had more restrictions, we had more lines to follow, to tell a story, to draw a story, to choose what a character would have to do in a book. So I think all these restrictions limit the freedom of a comic book to be expressed. So this is the I think the big difference we had from comics from 19th from now.
Mhm.
There are more lines to follow, more rules. I think in some ways it's also correct. But when you limit a character, the capacity of a character too much, it tends to being that character. You know what I mean? So I hope for comic books in general, not just superheroes, for comic books in general, to find again that freedom to express themselves in the future.
It totally makes sense because we're talking about corporations.
Yes, that's the point.
And the bigger the corporation, the more rules they have that you
Yeah.
cannot, you know, that infamous Batman will never sit down.
Yeah.
Which is like, wait,
And
what?
also, another important change that happened in the past years is the socials. You know, 10 years ago, to talk about comic books, you went in a comic shop or you talk with your group of friends who read the same comic books you read. So it was limited, your opinion was limited in your group of friends or family or just the comic book shops. Now the the opinions matters a lot, because everyone can tell everything online and spread it, and it can be dangerous. It can be really, it's a weapon. You can destroy an artist, you can destroy a storyline, a character, and the audience, sometimes the audience decides what's the direction of a story, what's the future of a character, if a characters act right or wrong. I am aware that sometimes a story can disappoint you, that sometimes you can be not okay with something happening to some characters or anything, but it's just your opinion to share with friends and close people, not online, because this may destroy artists and story and titles.
Hola. Hola. Ven aquí. Viola.
And the same thing. Hi. I think the same thing happens to series, to movies, to any kind of entertainment now. It's under this dynamic of people judgment online. And on socials, they are aggressive sometimes. They don't understand why we do some things, and it's just entertainment. I mean, we do it for fun. We do it for to entertain people, to have 20 minutes of relax. So take it easy.
Yeah, it's a toxic fandom.
Yeah.
I think what Emma said, it's all connected, because it's a reflection of our society.
Yes.
But I want to be optimistic and think that comics will survive to all this, like movies and other media. What I think it's most unspeakable, or what we need into comics to maintain the pole position is good stories. We need good writers that write good stories. Like I think what English writers did at Vertigo. We need that kind of period. We are plenty of good artists. We need the same quantity of good writers.
And colorists. Please, colorists, if you are in me, please.
What do you have against colorists?
Oh, well, against colorists, nothing. But
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, it's a problem. They are the last element of the workflow. So sometimes they are forced to work a whole story in a week.
Yeah.
So they don't have time to work properly on pages. So you have to be lucky enough to work on a colorist that knows how to run, or knows that has a huge knowledge of his work. Because sometimes it happens that a colorist can improve your story, but sometimes can totally destroy it. So sometimes it happened to me to work with colorists that running or just being at the beginning of their career, that makes impossible things on drawings, and I wasn't happy about the result, because it's a big effort for me to make a page as I want to do it. I mean, I'm really precise. I want to give my best, and when I see that the last part of the story, that is color, that is part of the storytelling itself, it's not working as I wanted. It's sad, because every part of the workflow should have the right space, the right time to make a good work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they are also underpaid, so
Yes,
they need
definitely.
to take more work that they can do. So it's all a consequence of the quality go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to do it in a week or less, so they have to ask for help, and it's not going to be maybe the same guy that does 2 consecutive pages. So as we all know, you're gonna have something that is colored red in one page, and the next one is pink or is green or the sky is not gonna match, and then the editor doesn't catch it or doesn't have time. So by the end of the day, you as the artist just see the printed book and you are like, what the fuck?
The printed book matters more than the look
Everything
of the book.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say thank you to my huge friend, Tomeu Murray, which is my favorite friend and colorist in the industry, and we worked a lot together. Also, Dave McCaig, it's a colorist I love to work with. David Curiel. I mean, there are many colorists that are excellent, but finding a good colorist, it's hard. And when you find it, you have to fight to keep it with you.
Who are you working with in BlackWidow, Elena?
As colorist?
Yes.
Jordi Belair. She's great.
Well, you have
Perfect.
Jordi Belair.
Perfect.
I didn't need to blame anyone.
No, she's fantastic.
No,
fantastic.
You have Jordi, who's also Astomeu, and Dave McKay.
Yeah. I worked with Jordi on Batgirl. She was fantastic. She also sent proofs to me. So it was wonderful because there was a connection on the team, and it's not happening every time, because sometimes we don't even see the color, the finished page. We see the page when they are printed, so it's a surprise. And when I had the opportunity to work with Jordi, there was this sense of working together to decide what is the best for this page or this other page. So it was excellent.
Jordi Perez says, that's true. I don't understand how.
Thank you, Jordi. We love you.
We all love Jordi. Just say it, because she's one of the best, and an amazing person too, by the way. Jordi Perez says, true. I don't understand why the folder is not shared with all the team from the beginning of a comic. Then the colorists and letterers have a rough time, or they are all sent everything in a whole layer. It depends. It depends on the case. It's not an absolute. You try to do a certain amount of pages and send them so everybody is working at the same time. But sometimes you just can't. This is the nature of the beast. It's a machine. It's a monthly book. Sometimes you just can't. And we all suffer for it. And of course, the last ones in the chain suffer more. And then you get, as Emma said, you get a comic you haven't even seen, and you only see the printed one, and you want to kill yourself. Let's just say it. And what's next for you? What if there any clues you can? I guess that Elena, you're still on BlackWidow and enjoying it.
I'm working on the second run. There will be other 5 issues, and except for the first one that is doing by another artist. I'll be on BlackWidow until June, and then I don't know. We'll see.
No, but that's enough. We're in January still. I know that with the pandemic you lose track, but we're in January, so there's a lot of time still.
Yes,
to make decisions. Don't worry about that. And what about you, Emma?
I'm working on black and white Batman with Wade Grambadger, so I'm super happy about that. And then I have miniseries, I think. It's something new. I can't tell that much. So you will see.
Mhm.
But definitely I'm on some Wonder Woman covers, and then I'm doing some some variant covers for Marvel.
Mhm.
I work a lot with Marvel with variant covers, and it's thrilling for me. So I think it's we are all trying to float, you know.
Yeah, so to stay afloat.
We are floating. We are not sailing. We are floating. So we'll see. It's surviving day by day. We work on short project.
Mhm.
I think there's not much happening in long-term time,
Mhm.
but we're surviving. So this is the important thing.
Mhm. And if I put in front of you a list of genres, and I said, okay, you are going to do a create your own now. You have to pick Western, science fiction, whatever. You can choose. You can choose noir. You can choose the subject.
A fantasy adventure.
Horror one.
No, after this year, you want more?
Yes.
Seriously, it's not enough.
Emma, you know perfectly well we are Latin. There's something that is called masochism.
Yeah,
You know that. We just need to buffer.
it's enough for me about horror. I mean, I'm good.
So fantasy of what kind? Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing, or something more?
No, something more like, you know, The Last Unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of fantasy. Labyrinth, something where a whole world it's a brand new world. So you have to create your character, your environments, the adventure. Yeah, I love the idea of the travel, the adventure travel that brings you somewhere with your friends.
The exploration.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, Elena, explain horror.
Oh well,
Let's go to masochism.
I thought the horror stories are a way to elaborate our fears. So working on something that makes feel fear to people, it's like to help them to superate that period, to like to take their own fear and get less down because they have to worry about another kind of fear. Also, if it's unreal, but it's another thing to think about. And I always have this kind of appeal to the horror paranormal story, the Japan horror story. I like them so much. Like I mean, Ringu, the Ring. Okay, or one of the one of my favorite authors is him, Junji Ito.
Yes.
And I'd like to do something this kind of horror. You know, not gore, not so blood. Just the idea of the fear of the nightmares.
Yeah, the mood, the atmosphere, based
Yes.
more on that than yeah, just dripping blood everywhere. Do you think there's any limits to the stories you can tell in comics?
Yes, I'll start.
Yes, go first.
For me, yeah, there are limits. For example, I don't tolerate some kind of violence. There were scenes that I refused to draw because they were too much. So I asked the writer to change some parts of them. So yes, definitely the limit for me is the violence,
Mm-hmm.
but not the violence when someone is kicking someone else. For some of injustice violence,
Mm-hmm.
something that it's not telling anyone something good.
Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense. Elena?
Limits are everything goes against our moral. That's the limits they need to respect.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm open to do anything so far, except for maybe some sexual contents, but just because I work on a different industry. But I'm open to accept that kind of story exists.
Yeah, I think until it's not bad it's not making feeling anyone bad, we can draw what they ask to us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's not the question I was asking, but
Okay.
I love that.
Perfect.
All
right.
No, I love the answers. I was talking about if comics compares to any other media, if there's a limit to the kind of stories you can tell. Does it make sense? What I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I
in
don't think
terms
there
of,
is. I don't think there is.
yeah. I know what you're saying. Sometimes I think stories like we've seen in Doctor Strange movie, for example.
Mhm.
Yeah, that kind of storytelling, it's quite impossible to reproduce on a comic book because, drawing some things, it's complicated, and you need a team that works on a book for months or years to get that result.
Mhm.
But sometimes the most of the time we are working on a short term. We need to stay in a book for months, something that are very complicated to draw, something that you need to add effects with digitally, or with more complex techniques. They need time.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible. I think just it's matter of time.
Mhm.
I'm agree with this last sentence, but in generally, I think the comics are no limit. Have no limits about stories they can show. The only limits of comics is the sound.
Yeah.
It is the image that don't move by themselves, but it's a kind of media active. Comics need interaction with the audience. They don't have quite passive like a movie, because when people read the comics, if it's a good comic, they can hear sounds or move or see move the characters. So there's no limits about what our comics can show, because we have no budget limits.
Mhm.
We have no, when you do a movie, you have a lot of a restriction about permission and people and producer. Into comics, this is a small circle of people who have who created them.
Mhm.
So there's no limit to the fantasy, to the show, to the only limit is time.
Yeah, and the team you work with, because if the quality and the style you want to give, the mood you want to give to a story, and you have a team you can relate it with and you can talk with. I want this story to look like this, and the color to look like this, and we need some effect at some point. We need to give this sense of movement or some kind of action, and you can plan it with your team before you start working. That's ideal. I mean, it really happened. It happened to projects that are long-term based, but on the continuity, it's hard to find some extraordinary contents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the end of the day, it's also a matter of seeing how the market changes in terms of monthlies or bigger, longer formats with more
Yeah.
pages, right? Last one, because Elena, I don't know how you are on time. Elena,
Don't worry. I text to the grandma. She took the little one.
okay,
I'm okay.
I just checked the
I'm
time.
with you.
I was checking the time. I was like, what? Wait, like, where do you see yourselves in the future? And I mean, do you think you are going to still be doing corporate owned characters, or you see yourself saying, okay, I played in their playground enough, now I want to just play in my own playground with my own characters? Do you see yourselves doing that jump, or still playing with the icons for a long time?
For me, I don't know, and I don't want to know, because every time
I just want to die.
every time I try to plan or also to imagine how will be my future, my work future, things never gone how I imagined. So I live day by day, and what it come, I will take it, or I value at the moment. I just don't want to think about future.
We don't have a future, so you don't worry about it.
Emma?
For me, I want to stay in comic books as long as possible, but I'm picturing the future. I want to start my own book, and already started to think about it. So due to the quarantine, I have a bit of time, extra time to work on it. So I started drawing it. It's a totally different book from comic books. It's something mine, and I want a book where I'm free to express myself in terms of drawings, in matter of subject and techniques. So we'll see what will happen with it. It has a face, but it's free to go any direction the book wants. So we'll see.
Nice.
A savage book.
Wild.
Wild, yeah.
Also, let me ask you this. The process, you're talking about that wild book you're creating.
Yeah.
When you work...
Yeah.
Oh, please.
No. Tell me.
I was going to say, when you're working on that or any other book, do you need absolute silence, or you can work with music, or it depends on the phase of the work?
So I just need to be alone, because I get distracted a lot. So I try to work with other people in my studio, but it's quite impossible. It's a party. So I need to be alone, but not silence. I listen to the music. I watch to a movie, or just listen to the computer or television or YouTube, some documentary sometimes. But I need to stay focused on what I'm doing, just being alone and listening to something.
Elena?
It depends on the phase of the of the work I'm doing on watch the moment. If I'm doing the storyboard, I need silence, absolutely alone. And but while I do pencil, I used to have movies or TV series or radio, music. Music a lot of the time distracts me more than TV series, so I prefer something that people talks. I need, and while I think, I can stay with my son too, because I turn off my brain and just move my hand, so I can do everything while I think. I think on the train, on the plane, during convention. I think is the most relaxing part of my job.
Yeah, because as we were saying before, when you were doing the layouts, storyboards, is you have to fit everything in the right position, in the right place. Everything has to work. So it's the most. Many artists tell me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, that after they do the layouts, that's where they create.
Yes, the job is done. The layout, you can live your life and see people and friends.
I wasn't going
You
to go
just
that
draw.
far. I was going to say that some people tells me that the real creative part is the layouts.
Yes.
When you really create the comic.
But what Elena said, it's a common feeling. When I talk with my other friends, other colleagues, we all have this feeling of being focused on the layout part, and we can't talk, we can't get distracted from anything. Just when we work on layouts, then we can talk to the phone, watch the TV, listen to the music. It's a more relaxed process, but when we work on the layouts, we spend a lot of brain energy because it's a building part. You're building the story. You are making your decision about placing the right character to the right side of the page. How to place the black and whites, the shadows, it's a lot of planning. So it's an extra work for your brain.
So the layouts are the Lego bricks.
Yes.
In the end, they are the Lego bricks. And also, how important it is for you as a storyteller, even if the script calls for it, to be able to tell the writer or the editor, we need silence here. How important is the silence for you as a storyteller?
The silence, you mean without the
music? Don't even the music.
I mean in a page. Sorry, we're talking about. I just changed the subject really fast. when you're drawing a page, sometimes in many, as you know, in many comics, 20 page comics, there's not a moment of silence. Everybody's talking all the time. Many times I read a script or I talk to an editor.
Oh, you mean the dialogue? You mean the dialogues?
Yes. Sometimes I have to tell the editor or the writer, we need silence.
Yeah, you're right. I think the best stories are the less lettered. I mean, the less letter we have, the better is the story, because we need to. It's a comic book. We see the figure. It's a sequence. There are some authors that I love. Paul Karasik, for example, is able to draw a whole book without talking, without having dialogues, just a sequence of events. And the story that works well, it's a story that can be read without dialogues, or at least a few of them. I've been working on some stories that the balloons cover the whole panel, and it's a romance. It's not a comic book. Comic book, it's something quick to read.
Yes. That was exactly what I mean, Elena. I was sometimes you don't move fast enough, you don't enjoy the comic, and sometimes it's so worthy that I just need to yell, stop. At least give me one page or at least one panel with no balloons so I can stop and reflect and look at every detail on that page, right?
Yes, yes. I feel lucky under this point of view because most of the stories I worked on, they are quite silent or just the right quantity of dialogues. But the first thing that I think about when I draw a story is that it has to work, first of all, without dialogues. So dialogues for me became a detailed more to go deep in the stories. But the first thing that I have to work are the images by themselves.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. There's also another part that in many cases I have to remind some people, and I won't name names or professions here, which is when you're reading a comic, especially as a kid, you're using especially is I don't think no other art does it. You're using two parts of the brain. You're using the parts that relates to words and the part that relates to images. So if you don't know how to do parallel storytelling, and I mean, don't say the same with the art that you say with the words, you're not doing a good comic. A good comic has to go in parallel. It has to say two different things. The art has to enhance the writing, and the writing has to enhance the art. So I guess that for you as artists, when you're reading a script that merely says the same thing that is asking you to tell with the stories, with the art, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sometimes it happens that we have a caption that tells you he's opening the door and the character is opening the door. Why? I mean, I'm drawing it, but it's space in the panel that occupies your art to say exactly what the art is telling to the reader.
Does it still happen? There's something that happened in
not recently. Luckily for me, it's happening recently, but I had the chance to draw that a caption.
Yes, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. And in the past, it happened a lot more often. And I had to send. There was a time when I had to send. I still have that panel. I think I will send it to you. So that panel when it was. I kept sending it to editors when it happened, which is the panel. Is the typical panel we have Thor wielding his hammer.
Yeah.
And the caption said Thor is wielding his hammer. So every time I got a script like that, without a word, I just sent it back to the editor with that JPEG.
Yeah.
And the editor was like, "Oh,
I mean, the art should be really, really bad to have a caption describing what it's happening in the panel, but for the most of the time, it's just precaution. I think. I don't know.
No, it had editors. We have really good editors in this day and age, and they see these things, and they usually don't happen. But sometimes it slips. But in the past, it was a lot more useful to.
Yes, in past happened a lot of times.
So what do you do when you get that, Emma? When
I
you
cry.
Okay.
I mean, I feel useless. It's written there, so I can also draw something else. So
that's what I was gonna say. That don't you just literally when you get a script that says the same thing in the script that you're supposed to draw, don't you just draw something else?
Yeah, I mean, the intention was it, but we are connected to the script, to the writer, so I just follow the infos I get from the script. So
Yeah,
that's my job.
No, I understand, but what I mean is that if they're telling you to do the same thing in the caption that you have to draw.
Yeah.
I know that as an artist, you're going to find a way where it doesn't repeat itself, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just follow the flow. Let go. They want me to draw this. Okay, I'm drawing it. No
It's
problem.
good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, why do I have to explain this? I refuse.
It's like, well,
No comment.
it's like it's not my job.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in the past time I tried, but I
Not anymore.
realized that it's useless.
Elena, what could you do?
Never happened to me, luckily. But I imagine that if captions say I don't know, Batman opens the door, you can maybe show just the moment right after, if you can, or find another interesting solution. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, how do you escape the problem? It's like just create something around, just go around it. My dears, we've been at this for 94 minutes already. Elena, I see there claiming you.
someone
Emma,
is coming.
I see you're having
Yeah.
to move. So, hello there in the back.
Sì, sì.
Tipo con le macchine, è fantastico.
Mattia.
Anyway, Elena, I want to tell you this. To Disneyland Paris, they opened a new cars
car
hotel.
section.
Yeah, hotel. So yeah.
You had to tell me.
Yeah, you have to go there. I thought about you when I saw the advertisement.
What new hotel?
The Santa Fe Hotel in Disneyland Paris was Mexican based. Now it's cars based.
Is what?
Cars based.
Cars based.
Yeah, it's cars themed.
Yeah. Okay. So that kid is gonna love
I'm
it.
dreaming the day when I can bring Matt to Disneyland in California, maybe in 2023.
This one has been in Disneyland California and Disneyland Paris already.
Yeah.
So we'll have to repeat. So okay, so let's leave it here because everybody's having to. The life is taking the reign.
Saluda.
Hello, ciao. Thank you so much for being here, to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you
so much
for having us here.
And please don't cut because I want to say proper thank you after we cut the live feed. But to all of you watching, thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. Again, don't be assholes. Wear your mask. Take care of people.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Exactly. Let's not die before we all get our vaccines. See you on Monday with the Spanish artist con la artista española Susana Martín. Okay, and we're out. Thank you so much and bye. In 3.
Bye. Thank you guys. Thank you. Ciao, Elena.
No, you're